I cannot tell you how many times I have heard schools or districts talk about doing a root cause analysis, and guess what? There's not even students or families at the table. We're not even using data other than maybe test data, attendance data. That data is important, but we're only using that kind of data to actually do our root cause analysis. And then we're surprised when the root cause analysis doesn't identify the right thing, and we made this whole strategic plan around this root cause that is just not the thing, right? And then we're doing it all again and we're not making any movement. So here is the kicker. We are going to involve student experience data or family experience data. Today, we're going to focus on student experience data. I'm going to tell you what types of data you might want to look at. In addition to, of course, having as many students as possible at the table when we're doing the root cause analysis. So here we go. What I would typically do for a root cause analysis. So if you're not familiar, quick review, and then on to the next pieces of student experience data. Root cause analysis, we determine the problem, symptoms of the problem, why it exists, and then we usually go through the 5 whys. Here's the thing. I have a bunch of resources for you on this, but I want you to end up with an underlying belief, habit, or loyalty that's at the root. If we don't get to that, then we're not really at the root cause, particularly when we're talking about adaptive challenges. Adaptive challenges being, and of course, listen to all the videos on this in the past on this channel, but adaptive challenges being something that is long-standing. It takes not a technical solution to solve, right? Not just a simple PD, but some real change, some deep change that often requires multiple stakeholders. So what types of street data, if you haven't read the book Street Data, you absolutely should. Jamila Dugan and Shane Zafir author it. They are fantastic. There's tons of info on this. So this comes a little bit from them, a little bit from just things that I've done in my practice. Types of street data, and street data meaning that student experience data. So let's look at some artifacts that you could bring in if you don't have students on the committee or you can't have them be present. They've told you they don't want to be present. They just want to share their experience with you and have you kind of come up with a potential root cause and then pitch it to them. Totally fine. This is what I would take a look at. Artifacts, student work, video of a student presentation. So either you go in a video or students record a video as a project or something that they've done. They could also present to you data that they've collected. So they're presenting to you kind of their student experiences, almost like a video journal. You could record a discussion from a class, from a focus group, a performance-based assessment task. So again, we're not looking at testing data. I think that's something that we often look at, but that's not really about the student experience. The performance-based assessment task often is far more like that. You could also look at a PLC or a team agenda. So what is deemed important enough to talk about at that meeting? What are we digging into? What are we not? So all of these are artifacts, things that could be submitted to a committee and we could kind of dig through. Now, I also recommend that the committee does some observations. So what does this look like? Well, the authors of Street Data suggest potentially doing an equity participation tracker. So we're tallying by student identity who is participating in classes. We are looking at nonverbal cues in our observations. So we're not necessarily going in and writing down, this is what the teacher said, this is what the student said, this is what the teacher showed on the board. We're actually looking at the students' nonverbal communication and cues as to what their experience is. We are observing meetings of teachers and what is discussed and what is not discussed. What is the elephant in the room, so to speak, right? Is there something that we're dancing around or we're avoiding? We are observing the classroom walls or the hallway walls. What is up there? We also are looking at stories. So stories of students, student case studies. So compiling stories, there are a lot of ways that we can do this in terms of interviews, in terms of student submissions of their pieces of work that they've done for classrooms, of shadowing a student, right? Of inviting the students to do a walkthrough of their community and talk about their experience all the way from home to school to back. We could have students submit journals about their stories and their writings about their experiences at school. We could have students submit identity maps that kind of tell the story of who they are and what their experience at school is in relation to their identities. And of course, we could do an interview with students, both one-to-one and also small group focus groups. So imagine you're back in that meeting and maybe students couldn't attend, maybe there's plenty there, but you have the student experience data to now inform the root cause analysis, right? You have the problem that is defined by the students, by their experience data. You have those questions as you're going through the 5 whys to ask yourself that gets at the heart of what are we as adults believing or doing, or where's our loyalty maybe misplaced that is causing these problems. So what inner work can we do, and what collective work can we do at a systems and structures and belief level, right? That's far bigger than just like a one-off PD or a new curriculum or something, right? That will just radically change the student experience for the better and in a way that advances justice, intersectional justice. And so as we're thinking about all of this data, right, we need means to collect it. All of these examples we went through are concrete examples of what you can collect. Some are easier than others, and some students are going to want to share more than others, right? So what's another way that you can do this? You can also share out a survey to all students and say, if you're interested, please respond, and we're going to collect that data. So you need a survey that's going to survey all of the things that are relevant, especially in terms of student voice and leadership opportunities in your community. So I have that for you. Grab the link in the description below, use it, make a copy. It's a Google form, so you can go ahead and send it out today if you want. All right, good luck.